shoulder? Or maybe that weekend project left you with more than sore muscles? Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics is here to help. Our Urgent Ortho Walk-In Clinic in Cleveland is open Monday through Saturday, treating sprains, strains, fractures, and more. No appointment needed. There's no need to drive to Chattanooga for expert orthopedic care. Call, schedule online, or walk in today and get back to moving pain-free. Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. The Center for expert care right when you need it.
Hey, Andy Morris here. Join me along with my co-host on The Drive, presented by Hardees, weekdays at 5 p.m. on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. Cleveland and Bradley County's local sports show, weekdays at 5 on ESPN Cleveland 101.3.
From the Kia of Cleveland studios, this is ESPN Cleveland 101.3, WCLE HD2 Cleveland, W267BI Cleveland, ESPN Cleveland 101.3.
The top of the hour is presented by Best Buy Metals, making the top of your house the best it can be. Visit bestbuymetalroofing.com.
It's time for The Drive on ESPN Cleveland 101.3, presented by Hardees. We will bring you nonstop sports news from the national and local scene and everything in between. So buckle up and join in on the conversation. It's The Drive.
Welcome into The Drive here on ESPN Cleveland. I hope everybody out there is having a good Thursday. A little cool out there, but hey, you know what? It's that time of year. It's early December. This is the time when the weather starts to turn cool, and it's not warming up again until, I guess, maybe late February, early March. We'll see, but it is what it is. If you've lived here most of your life, you understand that's the way it is. Hey, I'm here. This is Jim Gum. Ephraim is joining me today. The other guys are not here, but we do have an abbreviated show today leading up to Lee versus Montevello, tip there at 5:30. So we're going to only have a half-hour show today. That game being taken place at Paul Dana Walker Arena here in Cleveland. So, Ephraim, appreciate you coming in today, man.
Yeah, I mean, I have to fill in for, Jacob and Andy about every single week, I would think, because either one of them is out. Andy's out with wrestling. Jacob's out because, he's being a great husband right now.
Yeah, he is, but I suspect Jacob may be back sometime soon. I believe that's the case because things are trending in the right direction there. So happy to have that good news coming over. Like I said, if Jacob wants to share what he's gone through, that'll be on him. But that's the way it is. All right, today with an abbreviated show, I had something. I read a really good article today, and it's about the upstarts in college football. You got teams like Indiana. Kurt Cignetti's done a fabulous job there. Clark Lee at Vanderbilt, Joey McGuire at Texas Tech, Tony Elliott at Virginia, and there's a few others. But it got me thinking, and this is and I always like to have a question of the day when I have someone that's filling in. Mm-hmm. And sometimes Andy and Jake and I will do it too. But my question to you, and I've got an answer, and I'll go over my answer. Do you prefer the traditional big brands ruling college football, or do you like having the upstart programs? And when I say the traditional big brands, I mean the blue bloods. And I looked it up, and there's different opinions on who the bloods are, but here are the blue bloods in my book: Alabama, Michigan, Nebraska, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Texas, USC, Penn State. Now, there's others that you could call modern blue bloods. That would include Florida State, Georgia, LSU, Miami, and Tennessee. Mm-hmm. Tennessee was at one time considered a blue blood for the longest time, and the last few times I've looked up the word blue bloods, sometimes Tennessee's in there, sometimes they're not, sometimes Penn State's in there, sometimes they're not. It just depends on who's making the list up. But do you prefer what we've got going on Or do you prefer what it's been traditionally over the last 60, 70, 80 years?
I've always hated the NIL ever since it has come into college football, and I always grew up with the Blue Bloods being like amazing. And of course, I'm an Alabama fan, one of the Blue Bloods, one
Absolutely.
of the top,
maybe
Blue
the
Bloods.
top Blue Blood.
And I was born in 2007, so that's when Nick Saban became the coach of Alabama. So
that just blows me away.
I have witnessed multiple 10-win seasons, multiple national championships with Alabama, and just seeing all these like SEC teams, those top SEC teams at the top, those top Big Ten teams, Big 12, Pac-12 when it was a thing, and everything like that. I kind of like the opportunity of these smaller schools kind of getting in with the money that they have to get the players, to get the better record and everything like that. I only really just miss the passion. And I always talk about this. I always talk about the passion of the sport. I don't really see much passion in it right now, but with these smaller schools, I think that passion is kind of coming back with that, because you got a team like Virginia sitting at 15 right now. You got a team like Vandy coming in at they're 13th now, 14th. They just made it out of the
14th.
Made it out of the playoffs, sadly, but you got teams like that are coming up with like pretty good records because they have pretty good players now. And I like the opportunity that the smaller schools get a chance, right? Because most of the smaller schools don't really get that much money because they have to go play a bowl game or they have to go play somebody big and get crushed or something like that. Now they have a chance to play in the big game, show who they are and stuff like that. So I guess I like it that way, but then I also don't like it because the lack of passion. And then I've always grown up with the Blue Bloods being on top.
Well, it kind of I kind of look at the 68 team NCAA basketball tournament, March Madness. We all get excited for the upsets in round one, the opening weekend. But by the time the Sweet 16 rolls around, I want to see the big boys. I want to see the Dukes, the Kentuckys, the Kansases of the world. That's just me. And like I said, when Chattanooga made their run a few years ago, it was really exciting. It was really exciting. But deep down in my mind, I thought, they can't win it. They cannot win a national championship. Yeah. They can upset a Georgia. They can upset an Illinois, which they did. But to do it 4 more times, you're just asking almost an impossible task. And so I understand the passion and I love the excitement that the new program, like the Indianas and the Vanderbilts are bringing. And like you said, Vanderbilt's probably not going to make the playoffs. Yep. But Vanderbilt, I would suspect they would be a very, very hot team for one of those big Florida bowls. I'm talking about the Citrus Bowl, the ReliaQuest Bowl, which used to be the Outback Bowl, or the Gator Bowl. I would suspect you'll see Vanderbilt, one of those 3 bowls. Going to Florida is the big reward if you don't make the playoffs. And I would suspect that Vanderbilt would have a pretty good following if they go to a big bowl game down in Florida. That being said, to me, the greatest playoff that we could possibly have would include Alabama, Michigan, Nebraska, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Texas, USC, Georgia, LSU, Tennessee. I would prefer to have a playoff with all of those teams and not the upstarts.
Yeah.
Now, I'm in the minority. I think most people would like to see a mixture of both. Have the traditional guys and sprinkle in, some new guys. But to me, I would love to see even if it's just 1 year, have nothing but blue bloods.
Yep.
Because you talk about passion, and the fan bases of those teams I just mentioned are humongous. They're everywhere. I mean, you know how it is. You can be driving around anywhere, and you'll see, people wearing the gear of all those schools I just mentioned. I've seen kids walking around in USC gear.
Yep.
I've seen kids walking around in Ohio State gear, and all sorts of Notre Dame. Well, heck, look at Andy.
Andy Morris.
Andy right here. I mean, Andy's not from up there. He's from right here in Cleveland.
Yep.
Born and raised right here in Cleveland, Tennessee. He's about the biggest Notre Dame fan I've ever met in my life. But it happens. It just happens. It morphs into that sometimes. But I prefer the more traditional teams. I just think it's there's something about the history. Listen, I love. Do you like Major League Baseball?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think Major League Baseball has the richest history of any sport in America. I think because people love records and they love talking about Babe Ruth, Ty Cobb, Lou Gehrig. You can go down to Ted Williams, and you can compare those guys to the modern guys. How do they compare? Obviously, it's a different game these days, especially relief pitching. Those guys normally would face a pitcher all 9 innings because the starters went 9 innings back then. By the time you face those guys in the 7th, 8th, 9th innings, they're probably taxed and their stuff's not as good, and they're knocking the ball out of the ballpark. And it's impossible to compare because we've got like 100 years almost to separate Aaron Judge from Babe Ruth, two great Yankees. But my contention was if Babe Ruth had the modern ability to, get yourself in shape, work out, nutrition-wise, I think Babe Ruth, hand-eye coordination can't be taught. You know that.
Yep.
You're gifted with it or you're not. I remember seeing a story one time about Ted Williams. He was talking about seeing the ball come out of a pitcher's hand. How do you identify a curve from a slider? And, of course, he had better than 20/20 vision. And he was talking about all these guys, and a lot of people were like, I don't know, believe this old guy if he's telling the truth or not. But I believe that he had such good vision. That was my thing. I was a good baseball player up until about 15. Then I started playing advanced baseball, higher echelon baseball, a lot of breaking pitches. I could always hit a fastball. Once the breaking pitch started coming, I couldn't see the spin.
That's same here. I don't know how he's gonna, tell the difference between a curveball and a slider because it's just basically the same hand grip for both of the pitches.
It's the seams.
Yeah, it's basically the same hand grip. It's just a different spin with with your wrist,
and how you grip the seams.
And how you grip the seams. And so, I mean, I still don't even know to this day. I've been playing baseball for 15 years, and I still don't know to this day that if there's a difference. I just guess when I go up there now.
And the reason I was talking about that, I was comparing the history of baseball, and I think the second best history in all of American sports is college football. I think college football has a richer history than the NFL, the NBA, you name it, college basketball. So that's the thing. That's what I love about the tradition of college football. And a lot of traditionalists aren't as open to the playoffs as I am. I'm okay with it. I've always thought they should have had a playoff. They should have had a playoff for as long as I've been alive, because you used to have this, Ephraim. You'd have all these bowl games being played, and then the next day or late that night or early the next morning, you'd have the vote come out, and people would basically stay up all night, wait for the AP poll to come out, wait for that AP poll to come out. Oh my gosh. They voted so-and-so number one. I can't believe. What's the coaches? Oh, the coaches poll. Oh, it's different. So you'd have split national championships. Yeah. That was kind of weird. But I always thought, man, because back then the Big Ten and Pac-10 or Pac-12 always met in the Rose Bowl. The SEC champion always went to the Sugar Bowl. The Big 8 champion always went to the Orange Bowl. The Southwest Conference champion always went to the Cotton Bowl. So you never had champions meeting each other other than the Pac-10 and the Big Ten in the Rose Bowl. You'd have all these independents playing in these other bowl games, or you'd have a second or third place team playing in bowls. And so you had these bowl matchups that really weren't really as good as you would like, because you had the third place team in the SEC playing the Southwest Conference champion in the Cotton Bowl. It should have been Alabama playing Texas instead of Georgia playing Texas.
And I can agree with you on that. I mean, I agree with you fully on the Blue Bloods being in the playoffs and everything like that, because you really want to see a game that's very competitive. You really want to see a game where there's multiple stars on both sides going against each other. You don't want to see a game where, Kennesaw State right now has a chance to get in the playoffs. It depends on, losses with other conferences and everything like that. I don't want to see a Kennesaw State in a playoff. I really don't want to see
Kennesaw State, they're in the Conference USA.
They're in the Conference USA. If they win their conference, if Duke beats Virginia, if a bunch of things happen, they can get in the playoffs, surprisingly. I don't want to see...
Yeah, because you're playing James Madison.
Exactly. I would rather see a Vanderbilt team who has Diego Pavia, one of the most overhyped quarterbacks right now, scoring 30 points, 40 points a game, over a BYU team who hasn't really played much of anybody this whole year besides Utah maybe. And I want to see these.
Well, they played Texas Tech and got waxed.
Texas Tech and got.
Listen, they have a shot to redeem themselves
They do.
On this weekend. So we'll see.
They do, but I don't want to see a team full of stars play a team with about 3 stars that
I get you there.
potentially get them the win. So I agree with you on that. I agree that we should probably have better teams in there, better teams with multiple stars to have a better competition, to have a closer game instead of just having a team blow out another team.
There are some people out there, and Chris Goforth, who was a guest on the show yesterday, he actually made this point. He goes, have the ACC, Big 12, Big 10, and SEC have their little playoff tournament, and then have the group of 5, which next year will be the group of 6, which is Conference USA, Mid-American Conference, Mountain West, Sun Belt. I can't remember who I've said. The American Conference, and I think the MAC. There's 6 leagues out there. Let them have their own little separate tournament,
Like
to
an
crown
FCS
yeah,
or
like,
something like that?
they could crown their own little. You couldn't call it a national champion, but a group of 6 champions.
Yeah.
To me, that would be fair, because the recruiting, if you look at the recruiting, I mean, the signing day, the early signing day was yesterday. It's just chock full of Big 10, SEC, ACC, and Big 12 teams.
Yep.
There's a few little stragglers here mixed in here and there, but for the most part, 95% of it are the big boys. And they're signing the bulk of the elite players. And this, you may have a kid that's like balling out big time at, say, I don't know, UAB. If he balls out at UAB, guess what he's going to end up doing? Entering the transfer portal and ended up at Auburn or Mississippi State or Indiana or someone like that. That's what's happening. These teams have become almost like the minor leagues for the bigger schools. That's unfortunate, but that's the reality of the NIL/transfer portal world we live in.
Yeah, and there's this one wide receiver comes to mind off of San Jose State about 2 years ago when I think Travis Hunter won the Heisman, or he won that last year or something like that.
He won last year.
Last year. So his name was Nick Nash, and he had the highest receptions, he had the highest yards, he had the highest touchdowns out of everybody in the FBS. And I don't know where he's at now. But apparently people were calling him like snubbed for a Heisman, but he didn't play anybody though. Realistic, like an SEC, like a Big Ten, like a Pac-12.
That's what's going on. I don't know if you know this, and I can't remember the kid's name. He's the starting quarterback for North Texas. Okay, they're going to play Tulane. This kid, he's a freshman, by the way, just lighting it up. I mean, he's leading the country in touchdown passes. North Texas leads the all of college football in scoring average. They're putting up just gigantic numbers, but we never talk about them.
No.
It's North Texas.
Yeah.
North Texas in the American Athletic Conference. It's a good basketball conference. It's a mediocre football conference, and it's just a reality. We don't talk. I mean, we've been doing this show all year during football season. I don't think we've ever talked about North Texas. I don't think we've ever talked about Tulane. I think we did mention Memphis when they upset Arkansas, but we never give those. Unfortunately, we never talk about the Sun Belt, the Mid-American, Mountain West, Conference USA. We never talk about any of those leagues. Why is it? Because we don't know anything about them.
It's never been that way.
And really, if you watch Saturdays, if you watch who's on TV, the SEC, the Big Ten, the ACC, the Big 12. Where can you find MAC games? Yeah, on a Tuesday night, on a Wednesday night in November. But in September and October, if you want to watch a Mid-American Conference game, it's on ESPN Plus.
Yep.
It's not on the big stations. You have to have a subscription to watch ESPN Plus. That's just the reality, But I'm like I said, I'm a big brand guy. I like the traditional, the blue bloods. I think you and I might be in the minority. Like I said, I'm not anti-Indiana. I don't root against them.
Yeah.
But I would rather see, instead of Indiana, I'd rather see Nebraska. Because Nebraska's got that history.
Yep.
Nebraska's, I think they're building their program back up. And it's not going as quickly as I think some people would like. But they're going to be in a bowl game again this year. They won their bowl game last year. Nebraska is a traditional power in my day. When Tom Osborne was running that ship, the 70s, 80s, and into the 90s, there was not a better football program than Nebraska. There just wasn't. He never, I don't know if you know this, he coached for 25 years, talking about Tom Osborne. Wow. 25 years, he never lost more than 3 games in a season. Wow. His worst record was 9-3. So worst, and usually he was going 10-2, 11-1, some 12-0s in there. They didn't play as many games then as they do now, but he never had a record worse than 9-3. He was an amazing coach, consistent. Now they would find themselves getting blown out sometimes by a Miami or a Florida State. They just didn't have the speed that those teams had back in the day. These days, speed is distributed all over. You don't have those big speed teams like you once did. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a break. We got to get a break in. Good night. We went really long that first segment. When we come back, we're going to get a little bit more into the SEC championship game, Alabama versus Georgia. You're listening to The Drive here on ESPN Cleveland.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Stay tuned for more nonstop sports talk on The Drive, presented by Hardees.
Right now, someone in a Hardee's kitchen is about to warm up your winter with the new grilled cheese bacon burger. Charbroiled 100% Angus beef, bacon, and Swiss and American cheese melting on our soft, buttery sourdough. And our new grilled cheese breakfast sandwich with sausage or bacon and a fried egg. Cozy up to the goodness of the new grilled cheese bacon burger and breakfast sandwich. For a limited time, only at Hardee's. Cinnamon Raisin Biscuits are back. Unwrap them while you can. Only for a limited time at participating restaurants.
ESPN Cleveland 101.3 is powered by Duracell.
Did you twist an ankle? Hurt your shoulder? Or maybe that weekend project left you with more than sore muscles? Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics is here to help. Our urgent ortho walk-in clinic in Cleveland is open Monday through Saturday, treating sprains, strains, fractures, and more. No appointment needed. There's no need to drive to Chattanooga for expert orthopedic care. Call, schedule online, or walk in today and get back to moving pain-free. Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. The Center for expert care right when you need it.
When the road gets tough, make sure your ride is ready. At Cleveland Tire Center on North Lee Highway. They keep you rolling with the best brands, expert installation, and prices that fit every budget. Whether you need new tires, a quick rotation, or a full alignment, their certified team delivers fast, friendly service you can trust. Stop in today and feel the difference that quality makes. Cleveland Tire Center. Locally owned, dependable, and always ready to get you back on the road. Cleveland Tire Center. 4695 North Lee Highway, Cleveland, where the name says it all. When the road gets tough, make sure your ride is ready. At Cleveland Tire Center on North Lee Highway. They keep you rolling with the best brands, expert installation, and prices that fit every budget. Whether you need new tires, a quick rotation, or a full alignment, their certified team delivers fast, friendly service you can trust. Stop in today and feel the difference that quality makes. Cleveland Tire Center. Locally owned, dependable, and always ready to get you back on the road. Cleveland Tire Center. 4695 North Lee Highway, Cleveland, where the name says it all.
Welcome back to The Drive,
tough, make
presented
sure
by
your ride
Hardees.
is ready.
Join the conversation. Text 423-749-1013. You can also listen anywhere on our website, ESPNCleveland1013.com.
Duracell in Cleveland is now hiring mechanical skilled technicians, $22 to $27 per hour. Excellent benefits beginning day one: medical, dental, vision insurance, paid vacation, holiday pay, 401k, tuition reimbursement, and more. Apply now at Duracell.com. That's Duracell.com. And we're going to the bottom of the hour when we're going to hand it off to Philip Tang and George Starr. They're going to be bringing you the Lee versus Montevallo game, 5:30 tip from Paul Dana Walker Arena. So we've only got a short segment here, but I do want to get into this. Oh, I remind everyone out there, the Empty Stocking Fund is going on all the rest of this week and all next week. We really encourage you guys to give. This is the annual fundraising drive that we do every year, so make sure that you participate. Big time need there for all these kids that are not as fortunate as some others. So anyway, okay, we have played the SEC championship game 33 years. In those 33 years, we've only had 6 different schools that have actually won an SEC championship game. Alabama, far and away the most. They have 11 wins in 6. Actually, this will be their 16th try, but they're 11-4 in 15 tries prior to this coming Saturday. Florida has been there 13 times. They're 7-6. This will be Georgia's 13th time this coming Saturday. They're currently 5-7. LSU is 5-2 when they've got there. Auburn is 3-3. Tennessee is 2-3. And all the other schools in the SEC are nada. Arkansas is 0-3. Missouri 0-2. Mississippi State, South Carolina, and Texas all 0-1. By the way, there's never been – all of the SEC championship games have been won by original SEC members. Like South Carolina and Arkansas, neither one of them have done it. Missouri and Texas A&M, they haven't won it. Of course, Texas, Oklahoma, they've only been it for 2 years. But it's only been won, by the original members. By the way, have you heard this? Guess who's going to make a guest appearance on ESPN's College Game Day at the SEC Championship Day game?
I couldn't even take a guess.
Lane Kiffin.
Wow.
Let me tell you something. There's going to be so many boos.
It's going to be a bad show. It's going to be
It
a
is.
bad show.
I can't believe he's doing that. I'm like, there are some deranged people out there. And Ole Miss fans are still very, 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 very upset.
Yep.
I wouldn't risk it if I was him. That's just me. But that is going to be a clown show.
Yeah, and then you have Pat McAfee, who's probably going to just be pushing Lane's buttons and just like making jokes about him or something like that.
Well, and of course,
heated.
a lot of those guys on the they've come out and they said that Ole Miss should let Lane Kiffin coach. They should let Lane Kiffin coach. And, of course, Ole Miss is not going to let Lane Kiffin coach. So I'm curious as what the narrative's going to be when he goes on that show. I mean, I don't know, man. To me, they're taking the spotlight off of Alabama and Georgia.
And just putting it on.
And putting it on, yeah. I just think that there's a time and place to have that interview. But let's let the two participants, being Alabama and Georgia, have the spotlight instead of it being shifted towards a guy that, basically I'm not saying he made the wrong decision. It's the way it all played out.
Second time he's done this, by the way.
Second time.
Tennessee and now Ole Miss.
Yeah. Tennessee fans are, they've kind of gotten over him a little. Although there are a few Tennessee fans, I'll be honest with you. I know some Tennessee fans to this day that there are two people that they do not like at all. One of them I get, the other one I don't. They cannot stand Lane Kiffin because he basically, gave Tennessee the shaft.
Yep.
The other one's Charles Woodson, because Charles Woodson won the Heisman Trophy over Peyton Manning. How dare that Charles Woodson won the Heisman? And it's like I told him, I said, you do know that Charles Woodson didn't have a vote. He was the guy that was voted for. You should be mad at all the people that voted for the Heisman, not the recipient. He had nothing to do with it. He played a heck of a year. He had a great year. It's like I tell all my Tennessee fans, that was the perfect storm. What happened in 1997, the perfect storm. It took a guy playing like Woodson did. He came up big in every big game. He was playing both ways, and his team was ranked number 1 and undefeated. It was like the perfect storm. It had to have happened that way for a defensive guy to have a shot. And there had been a lot of people saying they had what they called Peyton Manning fatigue going into 1997, because he came in 95, 96, excuse me, what was it, 90? Anyway, for the whole time he was there, it was Peyton Manning, but he couldn't beat Florida. And so, once again, that year, he, 1997, his senior year, he came back to Tennessee because he wanted to leave Tennessee to a national championship, and he wanted to beat Florida. Well, he did neither. But he was still being, he was in the headlines every time he turned around. So I believe that the Heisman voters had Peyton Manning fatigue, and they saw a guy out there in Charles Woodson doing all these great things for the number 1 ranked Michigan Wolverines, and they voted the way they did. And I called it, like I said, the perfect storm. But there again, I can understand you don't like Lane Kiffin, but Charles Woodson had nothing to do with it. He was just playing really good ball at the time. But man, I tell you what, time has flown by, Ephraim.
It has.
Did you get like 15 words in? Did I get to steal the show from you?
It's fine.
You
I'm
did a
proud of
great
that.
job giving your opinion as an Alabama fan. Hey, listen, I hope everyone out there has a great rest of their Thursday. Stay tuned here on ESPN Cleveland as Philip Tang and George Starr bring you the Lee Montefello game. Tip at 5:30. You've been listening to The Drive here on ESPN. See you guys 5 o'clock tomorrow.
Right now, someone in a Hardee's kitchen is about to warm up your winter with the new grilled cheese bacon burger. Charbroiled 100% Angus beef.